Hey guys, welcome to our first Woke Wednesday video with Stay Financially Woke. The topic this month that we are focusing on is Budgeting 101, which really goes into those beginner basic steps that you need to do before becoming financially woke or financially confident in any of those areas: investing, emergency fund, buying a house, anything. These are really those first steps, those first essential steps that you need to take. And before we do this, before anyone, becomes self-employed, and we're going to get into a little bit of that too, they need to look at their budget as almost like a scale, right? In the past, people have put their needs on one side and their wants on the other, but once you actually look at that and kind of study what is going in, what is coming out of the account, that's not really the case. It's actually going to be your needs and wants on one side, and then on the other side is going to be your positive budget. Okay, that's the money that you are saving up at the end of the month, that surplus before you put into your savings. This is the money that's still in your checking account. And on the other side, it's those two negative factors, the needs and wants. Those are both pulling the scale right down. In this case, if something is heavier, it has more weight, right? In that case, it would be a negative weight pulling down. You don't want to balance the scale out. People always tell you, you want to balance the scale out with your needs and wants. No, that's not the case. That means you're not saving up any money. You want to actually outweigh the balance with that positive budget having more weight pulling down, okay? And once you actually look at that, you can see, okay, obviously I'm not going to change my needs. I can't do that. That's mortgage, rent, food, car payment. That's things you need, utilities. But with the wants, those recreational items that you're spending on, you can actually transfer those. If you don't spend money on the wants, that automatically goes towards that surplus at the end of the month that you're saving up on before going into your savings. That's an automatic pay increase to yourself at the end of the month. That's why we call it self-employment. It has nothing to do with starting a business, working for yourself, or becoming an entrepreneur, even though you are working for yourself, because you are literally paying yourself at the end of the month because you're not spending your hard-earned cash on those recreational costs that you do not need. So it's an automatic transfer to your surplus at the end of the month if you do not spend on those wants. And you can either do that with, I know some people transfer their money that they've saved throughout the month, maybe once a week, twice a week. Other people do it in one large surplus payment towards your savings. It's really up to you. Whatever fits your situation the best. So with the surplus, like I said before, that's going to be the money that you have saved up before transferring to your savings, okay? And a larger surplus, it's simple. A larger surplus automatically means a larger savings, a larger investment, a larger emergency fund amount that is going into there, okay? Sometimes people take that surplus though and they say, oh, well, I have all this money in my checking account now, I'm going to buy something big. Sometimes that happens. Just be careful with that. That really, goes into looking at those larger wants that you may want to spend a large amount of money on. So that's also a problem that may come up if you have that large amount of money at the end of the month in your account just sitting there. Instead of putting that into your savings, you could put that into another negative recreational cost, which would just set you behind again, right? Over time, though, once you start it does get a lot easier because you're seeing that positive growth. You're seeing that positive effect that this surplus, this new larger surplus, is having on your savings account. And once you see that, you will become more comfortable and more confident with your budget. And you'll be able to see, all right, the money that is coming into my account after I get paid, how am I utilizing that? Am I spending half of it on wants? Okay, maybe you can still spend some money on wants if you want to have fun, obviously. But a majority of that should be going back into your savings, right? You should be paying yourself back. Instead of just spending that money, why not pay yourself back? You deserve it, right? Like I said before, at first it will seem extremely difficult because it's almost like, introducing yourself to a new spending lifestyle, right? Especially with short-term goals, you may not see, you may see some small changes if you are investing, but it will be hard for you to continue to push yourself. But think, just in a couple months, in 6 months, in a year and a half, in 2 years, you will see that positive growth in your savings that you would not have there if you continue to spend on your wants. Does that make sense? So even though those short-term goals just seem like goals, you are just doing it and you don't really have that much of you don't have a win there. Those are just goals you're trying to implement in your life and you don't see a wind. In the long run though, those short-term goals will almost always become long-term wins. That's something we focus on when CJ and I talk about just this program and any, setting financial goals, setting life goals, setting career goals. That is a term or a phrase that we like to use. Short-term goals will almost always become long-term wins. And with investing, that is, and becoming self-employment, paying yourself at the end of the month with that money saved and that surplus, that is what this is all about. Don't fall asleep, America. Stay financially woke.